bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game.
Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Man, I gotta stop that. I gotta stop tweeting. See, you guys are watching me. Yeah, man. Okay, here we go. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Wednesday, October 18th. 291 days into the new year, just 74 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Wednesday night. We made it. Another week down, right? Tonight, very special guest, Amelia Aeon Karris is here. We're going to talk about her book, and she is going to give us her practical guide to synchronicity. I talk about it all the time. Creating your own reality. You know, what is going on in our world, how to recognize things, how to see things. Trust me, nothing is what it seems. Nothing. Nothing at all. So we're going to help you figure that out. It's going to be an amazing show. This week, and talk about information this week, right? You know, Monday night with Brian Lunduke, just an absolute amazing show. The feedback on that is just, it has not stopped. And last night with Josh Gates, oh man, what a great conversation. And then, you know, tonight we have Amelia here. And this is what is strange to me. How cool is this show? I know if I'm out there trying to find a show like this, and I get it, you know, and one day the magic happens and I land on it and I figure it out, you know, I'm with it forever. I've done it. I know what that's like, right? I mean, how cool is this show? It's really cool to be doing this show, but as somebody that is out there listening and dedicating 3 hours a night of your life to come in and hang out with us, you know that we're going to be here night in, night out, live with a great guest and hopefully something that you know nothing about, and you get to learn something and go and investigate and go down, because that's what I used to do. That was my goal. Out there just trying to, you know, and just finding that magical nugget, you know, and if I could pull that off once a week, you know, just some crazy tidbit thing that would force me to go and read and investigate and ask questions about with my friends or whatever. You know, I won, you know, and I felt good about myself. And that's what this show does every single night. And here we are Wednesday, you know, Wednesday night, third night in a row live with another great show. And how cool is this? You know, it's pretty bleeping cool. So just thank you to everybody out there that's listening right now and it's just hanging out, okay? It's just a wonderful feeling knowing that I get to come in and hang out and pop off with some crazy tweets. somebody just said, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. Where'd it go? It's back here somewhere. It's back here. Where'd it go? I passed it up. Somebody said, man, can you give me a shout out on the show? And I said, for $2,000 or a really good cheeseburger. And I lost the tweet. Where'd the tweet go? I was going to do the shout out right now. Oh, man. Too many tweets. It's going by too fast. I'm sorry. Whoever sent the tweet, send it again. All right, send it again. I'll give you. Oh, here it is. Alien Babble. There you go. Alien Babble wants a shout out. Okay, there you go. You got your shout out. Yeah, we are live. We're live from Burbank, California. And tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris is here. Do follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple Facebook, YouTube. You know what to do. Go and get all of that stuff done. A lot of our listeners come through YouTube, believe it or not. And I understand that, and I understand why. There is a reason why we post the show every single day on YouTube. We do it as a service. One of the things that I do, and this is why I know the value of YouTube, is I am always going through YouTube. I have no idea how many thousands and thousands and thousands of videos I have seen on history and Egypt and near-death experiences and alchemy, and just pick the subject. It doesn't matter. I've heard them all dozens of times, not once. But that's the way that I do it. So I know that is one of the avenues for us. They don't listen to the show live. Why? Because they're not around. They're checking out YouTube before they go to bed, and they find something cool. Maybe it's the same thing every night, and they go to fade to black, click on play, close their eyes, and fall asleep listening to the show. And I understand that, and it's part of our growth. It is really cool. So if you haven't yet, and you're listening to the show tomorrow, right? Time traveling tomorrow. I'm telling you today to subscribe. So when we do a live feed, if anything else pops up, when the new videos pop up, you're going to get notified on that because you're subscribed to YouTube. So don't forget to do that. Okay. All right. Don't forget I want you to welcome our new sponsor, Numana, emergency food storage that you'll love to eat. I ate it again today. I did for lunch. I swear to you, I swear on everything, I had it today for lunch. It's that good. And it's a seriously cool company that is family owned, made in America. It's the best. The food is great, right? But you get to protect your family. And that's the thing. In case of an emergency, you want to be able to turn to your wife, or if the wife pulled it off, turn to your husband and go, you know what? Don't worry. We're going to eat, and we're going to eat well. And that's the thing, right? So all you have to do is click on their banner over at jimmychurchradio.com. Use the promo code Jimmy. You'll get 5% off and an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt for every order over $100. So go. Welcome them to the family. It is so cool. The best. Numana. Also, I've mentioned every night this week on the show, Unity Workshops is starting production on the first series of podcasts. They are calling on researchers and experiencers on portals. Okay, I think we've got a banner up over... it's on our Facebook page. Okay, so anyway, to join the project, they need production help, they need producers, they need writers. And for the Unity podcast, they are also looking for video or audio testimonials on portals. For details, just visit our Jimmy Church Radio Facebook page and go right there. It's posted. And you can sign up at theunityproject.org or contact John at modernmasters.org. Very simple. Or Rita at jimmychurchradio.com. Okay, I posted today. I took this upon myself. UniWiki is so cool. And it is built. It's done. The work is done. The engine is built. This isn't talk or dream now. UniWiki is there. It's running. Modern Masters, that game is fully functional. This is all part of our community in the Game Changer Network, okay? Now, and I posted it today, and to get the reactions out of everybody, signed up, cool, got a bunch of email. Thank you for that. But when you go and you start to click and go through UniWiki and understand what it's all about, you get it. This thing is brilliant. It's stunning, and it works, and it's built from the ground up, from the top down for us. And you'll remember the day. There will be a time a few years from now when UniWiki is the big thing, and it's the source, and it's the resource center. But you're going to remember how it was launched on the show and who did it and how it happened. So think about that. Be a part of the community. Don't sit around and just think about doing something. Go and do something now. UniWiki.org. Okay, and don't forget to sign up for our podcast. We have over as of today, 740 archive shows, custom apps, Apple, Android, all platforms, just $2 a month. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com. It's right there. It's updated every single day. Or you can become a Fade or Not over on our membership section on the site. I posted some pictures today of different Fade or Nots out there wearing those Fade to Black hats. The only way you can get a Fade to Black hat, you can't buy them. We don't give them away. No. Those are for the Fade or Not Game Changers. That's it. You want the Fade to Black hat? It's autographed. It's cool. It's embroidered. It's the real deal. Only one way to get it. I love posting pictures of it too, because every time that I do, something, hey man, what do I got to do, man? Can I get one? No. Well, you can. Got to go to the membership section right there. We have held fast a couple of times. I've gone to Rita. Hey man, I'm going to give him a hat. Rita's like, no, you are not. So that's it. We have not given away one hat. Think about that. So just go to the membership section and get your own. Check out all of our sponsors: Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, River Moon Coffee, New Pharma, Ancient Life Oil, Sacred Skulls, New Manna, and Bearing Optics, Night Vision. I got 2 emails today looking for the Night Vision information. Well, it's right over there. Just click on the Bearing Optics, and it will take you straight to their website, and you will see the Fade to Black logo right there, and get you some. All you got to do is just call the number that's there, extension 105. Ask for Alec Hoffman. If you need that information, just write me personally. I'll send everything over to you. He is a Fade or Not, so when you call, he's a Fade or Not. He's a Fade or Not. All those night vision trips, all those night watches, everything that I've done, Bearing Optics is what we use. Okay, so think about that. And he, not only has he been there, but he's a Fade or Not. So when you say Fade to Black, he's going to ask, what show did you listen to last? I listened to, and you guys are going to have that conversation. So you can do all of that over on bearingoptics.com. All right, let's get the show cracking. Today, happy birthday to the one, the only, Dawn Wells. That's right. Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island. So, 79 years old today, Dawn Wells. But we all know her as Mary Ann, right? So this is what I want you to do right now. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Please don't cheat. I just want to see who the smart person is in the room, right? What was Mary Ann's last name? Mark, get set, go. All right? Don't cheat. First one up. I'll send you a book. First one up. What was Mary Ann's last name? All right. Let's see. I'm watching. All right. Our dead guy's birthday today, Chuck Berry. Yeah. 1926 to 2017. Died at the age of 90. Sure, he was a singer, songwriter. He was a musician. One of the pioneers of rock and roll music. We all understand that, right? But he was seriously one of the greatest guitar players of all time. There was music before Chuck and music after Chuck. He changed the world. Very few people can say that. Okay, there's music before and music after. You know, Maybelline, Johnny Be Good, Roll Over Beethoven, Sweet Little 16, Run Rudolph Run, No Particular Place to Go, You Never Can Tell, Pulp Fiction, right? And my favorite, My Ding-a-Ling. Happy birthday, Chuck. On this day in history, OTD, 1887, Marianne Gilligan, not even close. Mark Tarana, all the way from Australia, cheated. No, it's possible, though. See, the thing is, he's from Australia. It's really strange how, you know, if you go to France and you talk the blues, there are people over there that know every single album ever made in the history of blues, who played on it, when it was released, who was in the back. They know all that stuff, right? Even though the blues was invented here. So I guess it's possible somebody from Australia would embarrass the United States like that. Well done. And I believe he was first. But it took you too long. Took you too long. I don't think he played fair on that. On this day in history, OTD, 1867, the United States takes possession of Alaska. Yeah, but also on this day, 30 years later, in 1898, the United States takes control of Puerto Rico. That's trippy, huh? October 18th. United States is out there grabbing land and claiming it for their very own. Fader fact. On a 1995 visit to Washington, D.C., Russian President Boris Yeltsin was found on Pennsylvania Avenue, drunk, in his underwear, trying to hail a cab to get a pizza. There you go. That's a Fader fact. All right, Gilligan's Island was over here, you know. Of course I know that. What I don't know is if you really knew her last name. Come on, Mark, be clean with me right now, and I will send you the book. Just tell me you looked it up, and I'll send you the book. All the way to Australia. Okay. Tonight, very special guest, Amelia Aeon Karris is here. We're going to go through her practical guide to synchronicity. Do take notes. There will be a pop quiz, and get ready for that. And I hope you have your sack lunch, your peanut butter and jelly, right? Okay. Call in numbers tonight, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. I will try to squeeze that in. Now, right now, there's a lot of talk about this theoretical Planet 9, and it lately has reached new heights after a University of Michigan researcher discovered evidence that may shed light on the existence of the, elusive Planet 9X Nibiru, out there beyond Neptune somewhere. Again, allegedly, I know it's there, you know it's there. But some researchers believe that Planet 9 exists because of the way certain space phenomena known as trans-Neptunian objects. Now, they are calling these days TNOs, trans-Neptunian objects. So remember that whenever I reference TNO in the future, not TNA, TNO in the future, you'll know what we're talking about. Conspiracy theorists, meanwhile, right, they believe that NASA is keeping Planet 9's existence a secret, because it's on a collision course with Earth. So there's a big conspiracy behind that, and it's going to wipe us out. It was supposed to do it on September 23rd. You remember that? I don't know how many times in the last 20 years we have been told, let's go to 2012, right? Well, anyway, recent research from Juliet Becker and her team indicates the answer to Planet 9's existence lies in the life of those TNOs, trans-Neptunian objects. Smaller than the former planet Pluto, right? TNOs are rocky objects with the ability to orbit the sun at a greater distance than Neptune, the gas giants at the edge of our solar system. Now, some researchers say that for these TNOs to occupy their current orbits, they must have been in the solar system for more than 1 billion years. Now, follow me on this. because others think, however, that in the vast amount of the time some of these TNOs should have either crashed into another planet, been hurled into the sun, or flung out into deep space by the gravitational force of other planets. Using a large set of computer simulations, Becker uncovered 2 new pieces of information about TNOs. First, researchers constructed a simulation of Planet 9 that would most likely cause our solar system to look the way it does now, by preventing the TNO's destruction or banishment into interstellar space. Makes sense. Second, the simulation predicted that there's a process called resonance hopping, by which a TNO bounces between stable orbits. Resonance hopping can prevent TNOs from being forced out of the solar system. Are you following me? In each simulation, the team tested different scenarios for Planet 9 to study whether that version of the planet, complete with its gravitational forces, result in the same solar system that we have today. Now it's starting to make sense, isn't it? Then Juliet Becker said this gem, and I'm quoting, "From that set of simulations, we found out that there are preferred versions of Planet 9 that make the TNO stay stable for longer, so it basically increases the probability that our solar system exists the way it does." Yes, Planet 9 exists. Through these computer simulations, we were able to determine which realization of Planet 9 creates our solar system. The whole caveat here is being if Planet 9 is real. Now, the search for the elusive Planet 9X, Nibiru, has caused, quite a stir over the last couple of months. And most recently, we had everything that went down September 23rd. Still hasn't stopped, by the way, right? The whole Mead story. But the Mead story, that prophecy, which happened when I was on Coast to Coast. I was on Coast to Coast last night. It was a Saturday, September 23rd. And I did my end of the world special. And I knew that the world wasn't going to end. And I knew that Nibiru wasn't going to crash with the, and I knew there wasn't going to be a 7-headed dragon over Jerusalem. Did I have inside information? Not really. I was going with, I was going with my gut on that one. But the mainstream media ran with the stories. They did. And then after that, or during, before, after, and to today, are running stories that NASA had admitted its existence. However, it isn't entirely true. When I read all of the stories where NASA had said, okay, there is a Planet 9, Planet X, Nibiru. So I go and I investigate. And then this happened. NASA responded with this, and I'm quoting, "If a planet is there, it's extremely distant, and it will stay that way with no chance, in case you are wondering, there's no chance of it ever colliding with Earth or bringing days of darkness," which is what the Mead prophecy had said. And that we were going to enter into the 7 years of darkness, and half of the planet was going to get blasted, and all of that stuff, right? 7-headed dragons. Then NASA continued with, "It is a possible Planet 9." Keyword there, possible. "A world perhaps 10 times the mass of Earth and 20 times farther from the sun than Neptune." Now, I'm sorry, I was just reading Twitter. Now think about that statement, because it's a stunning one, and they weren't done. I'm talking about NASA. So they know something. And now the math from Caltech, the math from Becker, the computer simulations, the way that all of this is resulting, the only thing that makes the math work is that there is something out there in a very large elliptical orbit that is coming through our solar system that is messing with some things here, namely Neptune, and they can measure this. And the only thing that can cause these changes in the gravity, which changes Neptune, and other things as well, is something out there that big. They know exactly where it is. And it's so far out there right now that our sun isn't reflecting off of it. Remember, a star is emitting light. Well, a star that is emitting light. But a planet is not. It has to reflect light. And the sun isn't getting out there enough for a reflection to occur, so therefore we can't see it. And there is lots of stuff. A rogue planet, of which we know they do exist, is nearly impossible to detect. And it's the same thing with asteroids and other things that are out there. Unless the sun is reflecting off of it, it's very hard to see. It's very hard to detect. But then NASA continued with this. The signs so far are indirect. Mainly, it's gravitational footprints. But that adds up to a pretty compelling case nonetheless. And that's NASA's response. So, I'm here to tell you, there's a planet out there, and it's orbiting our sun, and it's coming through our solar system. The next time it's going to be here, I don't know. Is it Sitchin's Nibiru? Is it the Anunnaki's Nibiru? I don't know. It will be fascinating to find out if all of this is the case. This is the second point. The orbit, whether it is Nibiru at 3,600 years, which is Sitchin's information, the 12th planet, it's that, or it's the information that NASA is giving us. It's not going to be here for another 2,000 years. 2,000 years. The last time we had any celestial events, like, for instance, that we can mark, if we go back to Jerusalem and the Star of Bethlehem, okay, here, and we're at a 3,600-year orbit, that means Nibiru right now is still 1,500 years out. Okay, and there were a few other events, and you can back up before that and forward in history. And the more forward in history you go, the further out Nibiru is. But it appears something is there. This is Fade to Black. So, yes, I think NASA did admit just that. It's Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris. We are going to have a practical guide to synchronicity. And that's what we are going to do tonight. That's why we are here, spreading that knowledge. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Simple enough. Email Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Get ready. We're going to do this. I'll be right back with our guest, Amelia Aeon Karris. Stay right there.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply and, of course, the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, it's Fader Night. Open lines all night long. John Rappaport's going to be here with his No More Fake Newsroom Live. But tonight, we're going to get our education on. You know, this is, the thing is, for me, the best part of doing Fade to Black is when I know that we're about to share knowledge. And that's the best part of this show. Amelia Aeon Karris has been a way-seer and trendsetter throughout her career, spanning technology, fashion, entertainment, international community design, and spirituality. In 1994, she co-founded one of the world's first web design companies, way before the public had any idea what email was. And what began as introducing people to cutting-edge virtual reality and artificial intelligence has evolved into awakening people to their multidimensional natures. Amelia received a BA in consciousness, healing, and ecology, and has apprenticed, are you ready, in a number of mystery schools. Her past life recall was noted in India, placing her on national TV and later addressing live audience of as many as 60,000 spiritual seekers. She has helped thousands of people to liberate their minds and navigate expanding realities and live out their divine destinies, and is the author of Synchronicity, Unlock Your Divine Destiny. We're going to talk about that tonight. And the founder-director of Know the Self, a mystery school for modern-day living. Man, I love mystery schools. Immediately gets my attention. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to change your life, your world, your reality, which then will help you change our world. I would like to welcome to Fade to Black, Amelia Aeon Karris. Amelia, good evening. How are you?
Hi, Jimmy. I'm doing great. Thank you. Oh, it's wonderful to be here. Just
great? That's it? Just great?
I'm fantastic.
There you go. There's a level above great. Before we get started, you know the drill. You're going to get the first-time guest disclaimer. So let's get that out of the way, which is This is just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. Are you ready to go?
That sounds great.
this is mystery schools, just trips me out. And I'm going to indulge myself and spend some time on that tonight. And the reason why is this. I have heard talk about the mystery schools pretty much all of my adult life. But then you go and you try to find one. Right, can't do it. Right, I want to. Who is doing this? When? Where? Is it? If there's evidence of this 5,000 years ago, I want to know. 1,000 years ago, is it the Illuminati? What are we talking about here? What is this mystery schools thing? And as a researcher of this, as a student of these subjects, I went out there and I was never more frustrated than to find out what the mystery schools were. I have asked many guests. I've had conversations, public and private, about this, and getting that information is tough. But you do it. So we're going to spend some time on that in a little bit. I want to start here, though, which is your childhood. And I do this with every guest, but I know to set the tone for our audience, is to find out about you and what happened, how, growing up, something went down in your life that brought you to where you are now. So, what was it like growing up and what were your parents like?
You start with the hardest question first.
You got to. It's my job.
We're going right in.
Yeah, it's my job.
Oh, yeah. Wow. What was it like growing up? It was hard growing up. I was raised in the Bay Area in Fremont and, Silicon Valley, and a place where a lot of experimentation is happening in terms of technology and new development, and a lot of immigrants. Every neighbor that I had was a different nationality. I had a Persian neighbor, a Chinese neighbor, an Indian. And I loved that. I loved the multicultural neighborhood I lived in. But it was probably the most dysfunctional, disturbed place I've ever been on the planet. Everyone was in their nuclear homes, and I was raised in a born-again Christian cult, I'll call it. They would like to call it a church, but strong indoctrination. And I wasn't allowed to hang out with anyone who wasn't a born-again Christian, and that was all I knew until, even my schooling was all at a born-again Christian church until the age of 14. And that's when I went to a public school for the first time as a freshman. And that's when my eyes really kind of bursted open it was the first time I had friends that had different religious background that I could really get to know and learn about. And it's when I heard the democratic perspective. It was the first time I heard about evolution. So imagine, being 14 and sort of waking up and having the wool pulled off your eyes. And it was also the time when my church accused me of something I didn't do. They accused me of having sex when I was a total virgin because, my best friend had been caught and her father was a deacon, and he thought, it must be my fault because I'm her friend. And so therefore, because of association, I got shunned from the church at the age of 14 and, kind of labeled. And I was always labeled very disruptive in the church because I asked questions when their facts didn't match up with my knowing.
Right.
And, it became this really... at the time I didn't know anything, but I didn't know any other community. So it was extremely, extremely disturbing. And, my family was dysfunctional. My parents got divorced, when I was 16 or around the time between 14 and 16, there was a lot of problems in the home. And, the other major influencing factor was, my sister's adopted and she's the middle child. I'm the youngest and I have an older brother. And, so was my best friend was adopted, and my sister's best friend was adopted. So my three sisters, the ones I spent the most time with, were all adopted and had very interesting emotional and psychological challenges that I was kind of obsessed with. I was obsessed with like fixing them or wanting to heal them or wanting to understand them, wanting to make them feel, specifically my sister, like feel loved and accepted and a part of our family. I wanted her to be happy, and she just was miserable. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of functionality, and my peers, both my siblings, they didn't even finish high school, and I just had to kind of go through the motions to get through it, and spent a lot of time alone in nature. And I think my parents were kind of tired of having parenting. Both my brother and my sister were a handful to deal with, and there was a lot of disruption, and there was a lot of abuse happening in the house. The cops were at our house, weekly. But we were raised in a kind of upscale neighborhood, so it was kind of like, don't let the neighbors know, and there was a lot of family secrets, and a lot of secrets.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's get to some of those really quick.
I love how you just go straight into the hardest stuff.
Because but that's because it's made you who you are.
It's
right.
True.
And the other thing is, and this is what is important here, there are people out there that are listening to you right now going, you know what? That was me too. Okay, I'm not that crazy. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's all part of it. But when you are saying that the police were there once a week, are you saying that literally or really? Now, and who was calling the police? Was it from your home or was it from across the street?
It was mainly my sister calling, telling them that she was being abused because, my mom, she would get hit a lot. Paddle. We had a family paddle in our house,
right.
But somehow I escaped the physical abuse. For me, the dysfunction was just watching the abuse of my sister and my brother, and being a witness to the intense psychosis of dysfunction of people who just kind of lost the ability to love from their own wounding. Like my sister being taken away from her birth mom at, she was adopted at 9 months old. So for those 9 months, she was in foster care before she came to our house. And that transition at 9 months was extremely disturbing to her development, and it was very obvious for me. Even though I'm like 4 years younger to her, I always felt like an older sister, like someone who was protecting her and wanting to kind of shore up her weaknesses and help her develop and help her get stronger. But she was just, from the get-go broken.
Well, what's it like today, though? What's the family like today?
I take a lot of silence from my family. Like at the moment, we're not communicating much. My sister's been sober for the last couple of years, and this is the first time she's been sober since I was like 14.
Wow.
So that's a long time. I'm 45 now.
Sure.
So it's pretty big deal that she's sober and she's starting to like piece her life back together. And we actually have a set meeting this weekend. I haven't seen her in years. I haven't had an opportunity. We haven't, as adults, ever sat down and discussed things in private, ever.
Yeah. It's so funny how families do that. And I'm not going to make light of your situation, but I'm going to be straight with you. When I was a kid, if I had the ability to call the police every time I got spanked, there wouldn't be enough police in the country for the way that houses were run back then. I mean, that was
it was the tough love era.
It was just you know what? It wasn't an era. It's the way the planet ran for a couple of 100,000 years up until, so it wasn't an era. But what was certainly true about that, though, looking back and thinking about probably some of the mental things that were going on, like my mom, trip on this. And I know I'm going to watch the Fate or Nots right now. I'll go, yeah, that's pretty much the way it was. My mom would be downstairs with my aunt and maybe some neighbors drinking coffee and doing whatever. We're all upstairs. We're supposed to be in bed, but we're not. We're goofing off, right? School night, whatever. And my mom would fake coming up the stairs with the belt, and she would crack the belt. Right? And so we'd all run to bed, pull up the covers, act like we were sleeping, and we would settle down. My mom would turn around and go, but what kind of mental anguish is that to put on your kids to threaten them, of being pelted with a leather belt? But, would I change it? I don't know.
Well, it went a little bit beyond just.
Oh, we got spanked. But anyway, I understand. Like I said, I understand your situation is different. But
I get it. It was normal then.
Yeah, it was.
For some homes.
It went down in schools that way. Okay.
Right.
But so back to this, though. So witnessing this, then it sounds like it started to open up your eyes, maybe for the rest of the world too, and what is going on out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would end up, leaving the home and walking in nature to escape the violence and praying deeply. And even like at 5 years old, I would just roam the hills. We lived in the foothills of Fremont, in the Ohlone foothills, and right across the street was just open grasslands. So I would just roam and catch snakes and bring them home and try and make people happy somehow. But everybody would just ignore me. They didn't have the capacity to be happy. So that's when I started to, I guess, talk to other beings because I needed friends and consolations.
Right.
So it started really young where, with imaginary friends or whatever, but I thought they were imaginary friends at one point, but then things would manifest and there would be confirmations in my communication with these, otherworldly characters, and that just continued until this day.
Well, what was the confirmation?
Oh, there were so many. I'm trying to think of one when I was a child. I wrote about it in the book about praying. That was the biggest manifestation of prayer. But one night, my sister and I we would pray every night before we went to bed, and always she would apologize for being mean to me. And then we would pray for the things that we wanted. And she really loved horses. And across the street, there were horse stables, but they were privately held horses that we couldn't ride or really do anything with. But she was praying for a horse. And then in the morning when I woke up before everyone else and I went downstairs and was sitting on the couch kind of waiting for everyone to wake up, and lo and behold, there was a huge horse standing on our front doorstep without any bridle or saddle, anything on it. It was just bareback horse, as if it had been plucked from the sky. And I was sure that it was, of course, because of our prayer, and that it was my sister's. And it turned out that it was, some horse had magically escaped from across the road, down the road, from the stables. It was actually half a mile down the road where it escaped from. But it landed on our doorstep the morning after.
Right. That is not a coincidence. That is really cool.
Right?
That is bizarre. I'm praying for a rocket ship. I'm a kid. I'm an astronaut wannabe, right? And I'm praying for a rocket ship. And one crashes in my front lawn. Well, you know what? I don't think I'm making it up, of course. But if
that happened. I would pray to God in the sky, and I had a big window in my room and a huge open sky. There was no, we were in the foothills, so there was no light pollution. So I'd look at the stars and pray to God, and things would happen in the stars. And I saw ships a lot when I was a kid, and they would communicate to me. They would flash back and forth, and I would ask questions, and it would respond. And that was a kind of game I played with my best friend at childhood from the age of 6 on. And that continues to this day. They constantly flash and confirm and communicate with me and give me information.
So now you gave away your age. You're 45. So I'm thinking about this for a second. So if you were 5, so we're talking about 1977, 78, 79.
Yeah.
Now, during that era, I mean, there were different stages of UFOs, right? And that phenomenon. But at that time, for your age, there wasn't a whole lot of craziness going on out there that would manifest like maybe this is your imagination, right? And so I'm very intrigued with that. We talk about flashing in contact today, but it wasn't really like that in 1978. And I'm very interested in this. What were you seeing?
I would see kind of balls of light. Well, it looked like starlights, but they would move and come down towards me or move away from me, and they would change direction. And, sometimes it looked like shooting stars. And there was one time when I was with my family I think we were in the Santa Cruz Mountains, like deep in the Redwood Forest somewhere, camping. And my sister and I were at the clubhouse playing pool or ping pong or something. And my mom told us we had to be back at the camper before sundown, but we didn't realize that sun had gone down, and it was totally pitch dark when we got out of the clubhouse. And it was a new moon, kind of dark, like black sky, and we could barely see, and there was no lights, and we're in the forest. And my sister, even though she's so much older than me, I mean, she must have been like 13. I was 12, so she was around 16. She was freaked out, and I was the brave one, and I was like, come on, we can do it. We're just going to follow this path, even though we couldn't see the path. Mm-hmm. And that was another time that I prayed. I was like, okay, God, show us how to get home, because we didn't have a flashlight and there was nobody around.
Wow.
And we were probably about, I don't know, like a 5-minute walk through the forest to our cabin. So all of a sudden, as we prayed and we sat there, and then a ball of light came through the sky and illuminated the sky to daylight, and we ran. And we were like, oh my God, we can see. So we just kept running so that we could keep the light on to find our way. And then we saw the ball of light. It looked like a ball of fire that rolled right over our heads and looked like it landed pretty close to where we were camped. And, we were freaked out and excited and confused. Like, what was that? A meteor just fell from the sky specifically to illuminate our path.
Right.
Yeah, and then a whole bunch of other stuff happened. But it was, our parents didn't believe us.
No, that was my next question. What did your family say?
Oh, they were just mad and saying, get inside. And we were like, no, something fell from the sky and we need to look at it. And that's when I became obsessed with okay, something is communicating with me, very clearly. Not just, it's not my imagination. Like that, she saw it, I saw it. It got us home. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to get there.
Right.
So those are the kind of instant manifestation moments.
Now, I want to ask you before we hit the break, that friend that you were with, are you still in touch today?
We're starting to be.
Yeah. I mean, I would.
But we have yet to meet. She She was an addict probably since high school. Like, both of these girls went through a lot of trauma. And I don't want to get into all of that, but she has been sober for about 6 years, I think, or I think 3 or 4 years now. And so since she's been sober, we've been having little contact, like on the internet and stuff, but not face to face.
Wow. Well, are you going to ask her about that? Do you remember that time?
I'm sure they're both listening, my sister and her.
What's your sister's name?
Denise.
Hey, Denise. Okay, what's your other friend's name?
Marcy.
Marcy?
Marcy Jean, yeah.
Marcy.
You guys are outed, but
yeah,
yes.
No, totally cool. And see, this is what, it's one thing. I love it when I'm alone and something happens. Right? Because it's just your own personal thing and you can enjoy it or trip out or get scared or whatever on your own, and it's your own memory. But it's something else when it happens with somebody. Yeah. It's a totally different thing, and it's an experience that you've shared with each other, but you've got your friend to back you up on the BS, right? That's the thing. Mm-hmm. We weren't crazy, right? That actually really happened, right? Yes, it did. We're going to head towards a break here, but the one, I've got a few stories that I love telling, but the one crazy story that's almost unbelievable for everybody is the guy that came up when we were all parked in the car alone out in the middle of the woods, and this guy comes up out of the fog at around midnight. I'm driving, or I'm sitting behind the driver's steering wheel. Knocks on the window and goes, "Have you seen my dog?" And we're all screaming, "Ah!" Right? Well, anyway, and then he walks off into the fog. But I had 5 friends with me in the car that we still, to this day, talk about that moment. You know what I mean? Now, if I was alone in the car and I tell that story, then it's just a story. It's a whole nother ball game when you got Marcy to back you up. So always remember that. Let's take a break right here, Amelia, and when we come back, let's start this practical guide. Let's get the lesson going, and we'll wrap up the show tonight. Don't you guys worry. We're going to get to the mystery schools. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. My guest tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I want Marcy to come in and tweet, too. We'll be right back. More with Amelia right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas. Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
And you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell,
You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers, and you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Graylien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. Come and hang out. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. The chat rooms are open over at KGRA The Planet and Spreaker. Everything's active and clicking and running. Join the conversation. Our guest tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris. Now, Amelia, I am a firm believer, and I speak about this a lot, about, if you don't like your reality, change it. That's all you got. It's up to you. Nobody's going to do it for you. And it's totally possible, isn't it?
It is. It's a little bit more challenging when you have a lot of trauma, but it's totally possible, yes.
When should somebody, throw up their arms and go, okay, I give in. Now I need to do something? At what point does somebody need to say that?
When they don't like what's happening. I think, when we repeat patterns or we start seeing like cycles or we're just unhappy, if you're in a rut or feeling like you're kind of stuck in the same boring routine and you're just going numb, it's a good time to like get in the driver's seat.
I remember hearing once, that, what you should do, you don't like your job. You sit and you meditate and you get your mantra going. I need a new job. I need a new job. I need a new job. I'm like, dude, that ain't going to work, right? That may have worked for you, but giving that advice, I don't think is good advice. You need to be practical about it. You need to be focused about it, but it needs to be right on the front of your brain always.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it goes beyond saying mantras. I mean, mantras are definitely powerful, but when you say I want a new job, it's kind of like you're affirming that you don't have one.
Yeah,
so that doesn't really work.
That's exactly the point, isn't it? Yeah. And be careful for what you wish for, right? Mm-hmm. You may get a new job. The easy way, right? Your new job is saying you want fries with these shakes. You don't want that job. It's not about that. It's about changing your reality. And when did you decide to write the book, Synchronicity, Unlock Your Divine Destiny?
I decided to actually sit down and write it after my house burned down. And I didn't like living in the city, so I moved into the forest and put myself in a cabin deep in the woods and didn't emerge until I finished writing it.
What do you mean your house burnt down? I'm not going to let you off that easy. What happened?
I was living in Oakland at the time, and it was just a freak a house fire. Nobody knows what caused it. But there was a lot of synchronicity around the fire, which I write about in the book. So you can all read the details of the story and like the breadcrumbs that kind of fell into place and led me out. But I was really, I had lived in India for 8 years prior, and then I came back to the US and was, I followed directives. I follow this inner knowing and this higher calling that tells me where I'm supposed to go next. And it's been like this since I was really young. And that directive was to come into Oakland and to do some work there in the center of the storm. And I did the work. I did a large event there and anchored some light and helped as many people as I could. But that environment was really toxic and it was really heavy on my nervous system. And I was having a hard time living there. It was like the grind, I felt like I was just having to think of money all the time, and it was never enough. It was like it would just pay the bills, just pay the rent, and I couldn't really recover and get back into like abundant Bay Area living, which I had experienced like the decade prior. Mm-hmm. And I was getting worn out. I wasn't used to living in the city. In India, I lived rurally and was very close to nature, and my life was very simple and easy and more abundant, And so there I was in Oakland struggling. And then one night, the house went up in flames. We all got out, within minutes of losing everything. And we literally just ran out of the house. So I was just in my pajamas.
And you lost everything. And so
everything.
That's an epiphany. Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely. I call them course corrections.
That's a course correction. You are turning at that point. Yeah, no doubt about it. The ship is coming about. Now, going, what most don't understand, and I know that life is complicated for anybody, no matter where you live in the country, but living in San Francisco or Oakland or Los Angeles or New York City, what you have to do every single month to get to the end of the month, and then the cycle starts over again.
Yeah.
You cannot take your foot off the gas even for a second, or you are homeless and very, very broke very, very quickly, and it only takes a few days. It's a brutal cycle of life. The reason why people live in those cities is because they accept the challenge and there's opportunity there. But if you're going to choose to live that life, you cannot stop. You can't stop. You can't take a month off. It just doesn't work that way.
Forget a month. You can't even take a couple days off.
No, you cannot. You cannot do it. It doesn't work that way.
Especially as an entrepreneur. I mean, I was running my own show, and it's hard.
It's hard. And so you split to the country, and you start to write this book, and you don't have the pressures now of the big city in Oakland and San Francisco. I love those cities, but they are no joke, man. They will eat you up and spit you out. So you've you did.
Yeah, I literally felt ejected, and it was the best divine gift ever. I mean, here it was so ironic that I lost everything, and I think I had like $1,000 in the bank at the time, and I had no insurance, so there was no safety net there. But somehow some dear friends of mine had a empty cabin in the woods that I didn't even know they owned, and they needed a property manager, and so it was just this magical opportunity where, and some other friends of mine had raised money on GoFundMe, and some neighbors had raised money on GoFundMe, and they replaced my laptop and my phone, and I had a little bit of money that I'd raised from the GoFundMe, and so I was able to just like sit. I couldn't do anything else. Like I couldn't work, so all I really could do is release the shock and stress from my system from having experienced that. It was it was like an explosion in the house. So it was very traumatizing, and it was perfect because then I could just be alone in the woods, which is what I really needed.
Yeah, and I asked you earlier about, what is the moment that everybody has to realize, to throw up your arms and go, okay, enough is enough. And you intro the book with like the greatest title ever, The Shift has hit the fan.
Yeah.
Right? So let's start there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think everybody's been trained to not listen to their intuition because there's more pressing things like making money and paying your rent and keeping things afloat. And there's just this constant state of emergency stress in our lives. You know, everyone in the Bay Area is busy. We've all been programmed to kind of stay on that hamster wheel and you just can't get off. But when these deep inner knowings and intuitions come up, like I had heard weeks, months prior to get out of the city and move to the countryside. I just couldn't figure out how or where or when and how I would make money if I didn't live where everybody else lived. And so all of these things were stopping me from listening to that voice that was getting louder and louder. And then the house burned and I just laughed because it was so loud. I was just talking about it right that same day. And the night before I was at my mom's house in tears saying, I can't live in the city. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, Spirit chose for me. So, you know, I think this happens to a lot of us. Like people end up with a debilitating illness when they've stuffed their anger or their repressed trauma and emotions, or they, you know, right now, so many people are losing their homes to fire. Like the whole of California is burning. And like, these are turning time. This is the shift hitting the fan. It's like Spirit chooses for you and you have no choice but to just
recognize,
figure it out.
Yeah, recognize and know that moment when it happens. We've all, it's happened to me 3 or 4 times in my life, and I reacted every single time with the right choices. But it's what happens right before that to force you into that choice where you think, man, this is as bad as it's going to get. No, it's not. Right? It can get worse, but now yeah. You are being told to make a decision and go into a direction. And sometimes it hurts, but you need to recognize when it happens and then do what you've always wanted to do. Now's the opportunity to go and do just that, which takes us to key number 1, tend your inner garden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keeping the gremlins out of your mind. So much of our day we spend in our thoughts, like swimming around in our thoughts, which we all think, are private or somehow personal, and that they're nothing like that at all. They're things that you pick up on the airwaves. They're broadcasting electronically through, like, right into your system. And so we attach to our thoughts thinking that they're ours, and then we run stories and belief systems off of those thoughts. And when we start tending our inner garden, we can start to remove those thought forms that aren't ours, that aren't even originating from our inner knowing. They're just distractions. They're there to distort our capacities and to keep us playing small and keep us busy. And so, yeah, it's important to take time to really see what are you thinking about, because it's just running on autopilot for most people. And
as you look around and you start to assess all of this, some of it some of them, I should say, or some of it you may actually enjoy too as well. And you have to maybe cut some of this loose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might get attached to those thoughts, or let them take you on a little journey.
And what about when we talk about some of these things that are negative? What about negative friends that you tolerate? Nobody wants to be friendless, right? Mm-hmm. And what did we do about that? Because that is certainly, tending your inner garden right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big one. And I think, for people who grew up in dysfunctional patterning really early on, which is most of us, toxic relationships are just a part of life. It can be from your family or from people you've chosen to hang out with that just get attracted in you, and they drain us. They drain us of our vital life force. And, you know, what happens is, I talk in the book about the morphogenetic field that's around our body. Like, we each have an anatomical spiritual body, just like our physical body. And most people can't see it, but some of us can actually see the field. And when we're growing up, that field is getting formed and created and informed. And when we have trauma, it creates tears and distortions and misshaped fields. And then when we're in toxic relationships, unconsciously, it's like vamping energy off one another. So one person is deficient in self-worth or love or whatever, and so they just start pulling energy from the other field because that it's stronger over there, and their field might be deficient in some other part of their area of their field, and they're pulling from the other person. And so this codependency and this toxicity is just going back and forth in this horizontal plane. And when we decide to like really heal ourselves and take responsibility for ourselves, which is the first step to awakening the authentic self, we have to take back our field, our energetic field, and start sourcing energy directly, not from this horizontal push-pull dynamic, which is pretty much what everyone is doing.
And you're wondering why you're not moving forward in life, not only with your job or your career, but your friendships, your relationships, your own self. You get stagnant, and it's because you're moving from left to right instead of trying to put a foot forward.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and starting to recognize that, and I think most that start to figure things out, that is the first step. It's a really trippy experience to go through. And once you start to do that, you start to feel things cleaning up around you, right? Mm-hmm. You really do. You think, wow, okay, well, that was actually pretty easy. How come I didn't notice this before? And that's really what helps you move forward, because that's the moment where you start to talk to yourself, which takes us actually to the second step here, key number 2, which is getting honest with yourself, because that's where it really starts to solidify and you can start to make some genuine progress, is you have to get honest with yourself. And that's a really tough zone to go into.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest zone for breaking a pattern, because denial is really easy. You know, most people have denial because with denial, you don't have to change anything. It's when you get honest that change happens. When you start to see the truth is when you realize, like, oh, it's not as I thought it was, and that means I have to do something about it, or I have to take my responsibility for what's mine or what's not mine. And that's when change is possible. So anyone who's listening who really wants to change their life or doesn't like something in their life, get honest, like really declare, like, I don't like this, and figure out what it is that you do want. Not just I want a new job, but how do you want to feel? Like, I want to feel abundant. I want to feel joy every time I walk into a room. I want to feel that I have a team of people that, you know, respect me and honor me and listen to me. Not just I want a new job. Like, we have to retrain our systems to attract that which we really want. And we kind of get trapped in the mental realm instead of using the rest of our bodies, our spiritual bodies. And
when it's funny because you say just that when you walk into a room, there's certain things you want to have the attraction. You want people to like you. You don't want people to unlike you, right, or not speak to you. But also, you have to realize when you look around you in your life, those that are alone, or that's probably somebody that is just emitting negativity. And that's, you need to start to recognize these signs. They're all around you. Once you start to see who you can be, well, look at who is not, who you want to be, and what is it that about this situation. Correct that in yourself. And that's one of the first things is starting to recognize these I don't want to say signs, but I guess it is, because it's all around you, and you need to know and learn how to recognize those.
I think, people are excellent mirrors for us. So if we're not liking something about our life or someone in our life, to really use the opportunity to look in the mirror and say, what is this person showing me about myself? Why does this person disturb me or trigger this emotion in me? And work it out in your own field. Like the whole key to living a life you love is taking responsibility for your life and getting out of victim consciousness. I mean, so many of us grew up thinking like, oh, I'm just destined to be this. I mean, that's what I saw in my community. Like they were stuck in boxes and there was no breaking out of the box. Anyone who broke out of the box, someone else would, run and keep trying to put a box over them. And that's true for most people worldwide. They're trying to fit into what their family or society is allowed them to be. And I'm here to say, sorry, your soul has a different agenda. It doesn't fit that box. Maybe you're one of the lucky ones and you grew up in a society or a community or family that really saw what you were here to be, and they nurtured it and allowed it to flower. But most of us are cracking through, depleted soil and trying to figure out how to wake up that knowing that we came here with, because we all have amnesia.
We
do.
Well,
what are we doing here? Like, most people are like, what's my purpose? What am I here for? Where am I going? They come all the time asking me for advice. And my whole goal with my mystery school in this book is to help people reclaim their power, reclaim their sovereignty, reclaim their inner knowing and their light so that they can navigate and take responsibility. And that's really the first step, is getting honest. Like, where are the parts of your life that you don't like? What are the things that are going on in your life? Maybe aspects of yourself that you don't like, or you wish were different. A lot of people in dysfunctional relationships keep thinking that they're great.
They have to.
Yeah. They choose to. They choose to. And so we have to choose something else. If we want to change, we have to restore our choice. And restoring choice, like, a lot of people feel like they don't have choice, especially those that are in deeply abusive relationships. It makes you feel that you have no choice. And then that's when the depression, I mean, it's no wonder that our entire country is like doping up on antidepressants.
Mm-hmm. I've never taken one. What's a
Me
good?
either.
Yeah. What's a good one? So anyway, all right. Well, and this
read
is
the book. You'll find an instant antidepressant meditation there for you to go into instant bliss.
Yeah. Right. Well, see, and that's the other thing. I think society is so in tune and tuned into immediate satisfaction, so they're going to go buy some self-help book and read it and expect immediate results. Like, okay, I'm going to finish this book in a week and I am going to be a new person. It doesn't work that way. You have to work at this. And key number 3, which I think is one of the most important ones, well, they all are, but slow down to speed up. And that's exactly, everybody wants everything. No, you need to just kind of check yourself first, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why I opened the school. So, for 14, 15 years, I was working in building intentional communities. And what I found, and the reason why they didn't work or they didn't stick or hold together, I have story after story of all these different communities, because I felt like, we all need to come together. I was looking for my tribe, my people, this utopian reality where we're living off the land and everybody loves each other and we all get along. It just wasn't happening. And so I would run into these issues. And part of my specialty in intentional communities is working on invisible structures, like the community governance. And specifically, what happens is, how do we make decisions, and what do we do when we have disruptions and conflict? And so part of that is how we communicate. And so I studied nonviolent communication, and I thought, okay, it's all, we have to learn how to communicate better, but it goes beyond that. And the reason I opened the mystery school is because after deep, deep depression of realizing that it wasn't working, like people weren't able to hold the frequency of living together in community in the way that I was envisioning it. And so time and again, there were power struggles. There was all kinds of interpersonal issues. And I was just, trying to get to the bottom of it, like what's going to make this work? And then I heard very clearly, like, we need to learn self-governance first. And I was asked to go and teach self-governance. Because if people don't know how to sit still, look within, get honest with themselves, and heal and clear their own field, they have no business sitting in a community structure, because they're distorted and they create distortion.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And until denial is, man, it's a bitch, right? And I'm not saying that lightly at all. It is so difficult because nobody wants to admit to any of this, and you've got to really just slow down, look at yourself, be honest with yourself, and get rid of the denial stuff. Nobody has to know what you're thinking, right? It's okay, right? And that's where you start. You start with yourself. And if you need to have these discussions with yourself about what the real issues are, then you're not going to be in denial with yourself. You're in denial usually vocally. But with yourself, you can be honest, and you need to get to that point.
Yeah, and some people have a hard time getting to that point. And I suggest journaling. And, for a lot of guys, I find that they really don't like that idea of journaling or writing it down. And even some women, they're feeling like, okay, well, my husband's going to read it, or my kids are going to read it, or someone's going to find it. And you have to find a way where it's safe for you to express the depth of what's moving through you.
That's right.
And so the whole key of number 3 is to create a recharge station, to like have a place. If you can't set up like an altar or a little meditation area in your house, or just some place where you can recharge and it's just yours, then, maybe it's your car, or maybe it's in a public park. I mean, I know I lived in Tokyo at one point, and I was sharing a house with other people, and I just couldn't meditate in there. There was too many people. So I found a hollowed out tree in Yoyogi Park that was my recharge station, and I would go there religiously and hide. And when I got inside the tree, nobody could see me, and I was there with nature, and I could connect and recharge and fuel myself up. And I think we all need that. I mean, even as children, there were time out, there was being grounded, because we need to ground. We've lost our connection to the earth, to our nature, our human nature, our wild nature, our primal nature. We've lost that, and then taken in all these software programs that are mental constructs, and it's making us really sick, and it's distorting us and taking us away from who we truly are and what we came here to be.
We need to take a break right here, Amelia. We will be right back. Our guest tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris, a practical guide to synchronicity. Man, what a conversation. Stay right there. More with Amelia right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris. And tonight, it's a practical guide to synchronicity. And we're going through the keys to achieving this and to change your own reality. And what's really cool, Amelia, is this next key that we're going to get to here, key number 4. This is where I get to go, you know what? I need some explanation here. And I think that, and I'm being serious about this. It's very cool. I've read some of it in your book. Through my own journey, some things came to me naturally. I wish I would have had key number 4, and it's called Find Your Balance. So what are we talking about here?
We're talking about the push-pull dynamic that we go through in life, that the pendulum swing of going this way and that way. And, anyone who's on a spiritual path or seeking to know their spiritual nature, this balancing act will get more extreme, especially those who've had contact experiences or dealing with any kind of paranormal phenomena. This pendulum can really swing quite far, from like divine encounters to, scary encounters that put you in deep places of fear. And in order to really ground your essence and to activate your, what I call the star seed, the center spark, the alchemical union that happens when you're aligned with your divine essence. It activates in your heart and you become like a small sun unto yourself. In order to find that balancing point, you need to know your shadow and your light. You need to know the extremes of your nature and find yourself in the center. And balance isn't a place that we arrive to and then we're there like a destination. It's something that happens in the practice. It's a constant movement, just like riding a bike or surfing. You know, the bike rider isn't holding still. They're pedaling. You know, there's movement to find your balance. And it feels like you're kind of holding still because as you're moving, you're balanced, right? Just like surfing. But there's these slight undulations. And in the same way of how we undulate like that, we need to undulate between our shadow and our light in order to create the balance inside our system, not deny one or the other.
Well, how do you do that? I mean, to go to the two extremes, I mean, do you go to the left and go rob a bank and then go to the right and go to a retirement home and play pinochle with some old people? I mean
right. Okay. So practically speaking, it comes in a lot of different ways. So for people who've had maybe a dark past, maybe coming to terms with that, or has done something that they're ashamed of, like really looking at the shame. We all carry shame at some level. So really looking at that part of you that feels shamed and illuminating that. And at the same time, illuminating the light and the love and the purity and the innocence that also lives inside of you. And if we can do that in tandem without forsaking the other, we can find ourselves balanced in our physical body. But what often happens with spiritual seekers is they meditate and they go out to the astral realms. You know, astral travel is really popular and people love, you know, getting way out there in the cosmos. And they forsake their body. They just abandon it altogether. And that gives host to a lot of other issues. So when you find your balance, it's like really learning how to ground these higher experiences, these ecstatic states of being that you might have reached in divine encounters inside your physical form. Like, how can you hold your light in your body and also manage the darkness you see around you, within you?
Isn't it's still okay to be a little edgy, though? I'm being too good.
Well, that's the pendulum swing. Like, you get this austerity.
Right. I have found that some of the most enlightened, awakened people, that really push the light, can really be bitter. I'm being serious, too. It's really, really funny that some of the most awakened people can be very judgmental. And I've always been fascinated with that. You can't be awakened and then pass judgment, and let that negative side come out. Right? Am I making sense?
Yeah, totally. I think there's a lot of people who swing to one side of the light where they think they're, godly and divine and austere, and they have a ton of judgment, and they don't think that there's anything wrong with it. It's part of the light. Well, it's not. So we have to find that balance within ourselves, and I think it's a very internal experience. And for me, balance happens in my practice. Balance happens through my breath, through the inhale, through the exhale, like the pause. Being able to hold on to the pause,
right?
To expand it,
right?
We need to know what balance feels like in our body. Otherwise, we're just constantly running from the past to the future, and we miss the present altogether. And it's in the present where choices are made. It's in the present where we get to experience the beauty of life. It's in the present where grace happens. And so much of us are constantly being pulled back into the trauma of the past, or running away from it, or running towards our ambitions, our dreams, our goals, and just plowing through life without any concern. And we all do this.
We all do. I mean, I find
all of us do it all day long.
Yep. I catch myself doing it every single day.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I have to stop and sit myself down.
Key number 5, magnetize your soul group. Okay, take me through this.
Yes. So, we're born into our certain families, and some of us, like myself, didn't really feel that my birth family doesn't understand me. They don't understand me at a soul level, at a deep, intimate level. And I feel that, we've all come here with a mission to participate in this dynamic on Earth, in this very polarized dynamic. And we have an original family from source, from where we departed, where our soul departed from. And there's this longing to return to that source. That is the spiritual longing, the heart's deep longing to that incredible love, to that place where we are just held and supported, and the unconditional love is just abundant. And we can magnetize our soul groups back to us in the physical plane through taking back our sovereignty of our field and activating that starseed in the chest. And this is all described in the book, and I'm kind of giving you a very quick explanation to what I'm talking about. But, this takes a lot of practice to really understand it, and deep meditation to know it, to experience it on a soul level. But we all, when we can return to our soul group, we activate our multidimensional nature. And when that happens, the knowingness of our soul, of who we are at a deeper level, at a essence level, unlocks inside of our chest, and we start to attract and light up this grid that we're connected to. And once we find our soul group, we can activate a higher group consciousness, the monad, the oversoul, which is an extraordinary feeling of being in bliss, of being home.
That's right. And by the time you're at key number 5 and you're working through this, I imagine that the individual would look around themselves and make an assessment and go, you know what, I've got a whole new circle of friends.
Yep.
Right? I've got a whole different life now than when I started on this path. And it works. You just look around and you go, the changes have been extraordinary. Look at me. And you wonder about how you got through life before this, right? You just right. That's where you're at when you're at when you're magnetizing your soul group.
Yes.
It's such a fun thing to go through. I've been through it, and I look around and I can tell you right now, Rita and I talk about this nearly every single day. We've been together for 20 years, right? That's a long time. And for her and I, it's very easy to go, if we're in a rocky path, right, or whatever, we can look at each other and go, remember when, right? And then life is just okay at that moment. Because, we know where we are today versus where we were then, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but, man, it's so worth it in the end, which takes us to key number 6. Because if you get through all of this, key number 6 is the easiest, and this is what I live by, and I talk about it every day on the show. You know this, and I'm going to say it right now. Be happy for no reason. That's it. Right?
It's so important. I think, we take life so seriously and we forget joy. Like joy just gets left by the wayside. And, we're busy, we're stressed, we're rushing from here to there. We're, having to do this, do that, and then feed ourselves and then get there. And people just forget that they can smile and enjoy themselves. I remember one time I said, my mom kept telling me to stop fixing her because, I tried to be the family therapist. And I said, but I just want you to be happy. And I, that's what I was wishing. Like, how come all these people have lost their joy? Like, there's just no joy here. That's how I felt as a child. And she's like, but I am happy. She didn't have a happy face and she didn't say it in a happy smile. And I was like, so many people say they're happy, but they don't actually know what happiness feels like. And in the book, I talk about, how you can activate, it's called I call it positive repatterning. So you can activate feelings that you've never experienced, like happiness or joy, and really say, well, what does happiness feel like? Let me just imagine it right now in my body, and just take 2 minutes. And I encourage you all who are listening right now, let's just do it as a group, because it's an incredible experience. So if you can just close your eyes. Are you game, Jimmy?
I am. Oh, yeah. But I'm live on, I have cameras on me.
Oh, that's fine. They're going to see you get even happier.
Yeah, they're going to. Okay, let's do this. I'll do this for the cameras
because I think it's a good experiment, and those of you who are listening can type in.
People are going to take screenshots and post this in Twitter right now. You know that.
It's awesome.
I got
with
tears
the big
of
Jimmy
happiness.
with the big bliss face.
Okay, all right, let's do this.
All right, so everybody just take a deep breath. Let's just take 3 really deep breaths. And with the exhale, just letting go of all the tension you might be holding. I notice I'm holding some tension, so I'm going to take another deep breath. And just imagine for a moment that you're experiencing the ultimate satisfaction of happiness, just pure joy. Ask the cells in your body to inform you of what joy might feel like. And keep breathing. Breathe it into the top of your head. Let it saturate your mind. Like, what does your frontal lobe feel like when you're happy?
Wow.
What are you feeling?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's see who's posting pictures on Twitter. I did it.
How do you feel?
I did it. Well, see, this is the thing. And I hope that everybody that is listening, either now live or later, in the archives, that you actually did do what you were supposed to do right now. Okay? And if you did, then you just experienced what I did. You know what my ultimate piece of happiness was? I was playing guitar. Yeah.
And what does it feel like when you're playing guitar?
See, the thing is, when for anybody out there, when you do, bliss is a key word to all of this. And until you experience true bliss, because it's different for everybody, what you need to do to take you there, it's different. And when you find it, you know it. You can't really explain it. But, so for me, I could experience bliss. You practice guitar and then you play something that you've been working on, and then your body tingles, your brain tingles, your eyeballs tingle, and you experience that, right? And so I know where to go, and that's you can do it. And for those that have never experienced it, it's, I don't want to say I'm sad for them, but you need to practice, because once you go there and once Amelia, this is what bums me out. I know that the vast majority of everyone is not in bliss, right? They've got a job that they don't like. So they wake up in the morning immediately bummed out because they've got to go through the day with something that they are not going to enjoy for hours, right? That sucks. When you find a job that you want and, that you would do for free, right? Whatever that is, it's painting, maybe bricklaying is what your passion is. It doesn't have to be sculpting or making music or any of this stuff. It could be something else totally different. But when you find it and that makes you happy, then you get up in the morning ready to go, right? You wake up in the morning happy, and you know what the bliss, but most people don't know what that experience is. And it's really a drag, and people will listen to this show that haven't experienced it, and they just think that this is some spirituality 1970s self-help guru mumbo jumbo, and it is not. It is absolutely not. When you find your bliss, you know it. And when you come up to somebody that has found their bliss, they glow. You learn to recognize that, and you can communicate on another level. Right? And then you can be happy for no reason. Right?
If you're looking for it, create it. Like, if you haven't obtained it, if you don't know what it feels like, you can create it. For me, I didn't know what certain things felt like. I didn't know what love from humans, like true unconditional love, felt like. I hadn't had that experience until I found it in meditative states. And it was an extraordinary, life-altering moment for me when I was able to allow myself to feel that kind of love permeating through every cell of my body. And it works. I mean, there's scientific proof. If you can hold a positive thought for 30 seconds, it can eradicate, hours and hours of negative thinking. So even if you're a negative thinker, especially if you're a negative thinker, find some moments of the day to just invoke positive feelings. And if you get my book, there's a workbook that comes with it with all these worksheets and ways in which you can really do this work, and walk through it. And this whole book is, walks you step by step through aligning to synchronicity, to finding your path, to unlocking your gifts of your soul. And if you're really interested in being guided through it and going really deep and grounding these practices in your life, that's why I have the Mystery School. I take people through a year-long program, 6 months at a time, and it's open now for the next few days until Monday. I'm taking a very small group of dedicated people who are really ready to ground their gifts, to activate their awake soul into their body. Yeah. And
I don't want to suggest or even mislead and, just quit your job if you're not happy. That's not what I'm referring to. What I mean is that there are people out there that won't stop and recognize what is frustrating them. And if it is your job, or if it's something that you need to recognize, look at yourself and make those changes. That's all. I mean, we all have to work. That's it. That's the world we live in. But you need to find that thing that makes you happy and gives you bliss. And when you find it, you will know it. And there is something inside of everybody that makes you happy. That there is really something there. And whatever that is, that's part of changing your reality. You know what? Go and do it. What's stopping you? What is stopping you?
Well, I would say go and be it. Like
go
just
and be
stop and be it.
Right.
Just sit down and become it. And when you become it, you attract that to you. You don't have to run after things. You can stop that whole push-pull dynamic. And when you create that balance inside yourself, these things magically appear around you, and your life starts orchestrating towards that higher octave when you've chosen it. But you need to choose it and to release all the programs. You know, there's a lot of programs that have been implanted in us, whether it was from our family or through, education or government or religious orders. And all of that has to fall off for the true you to find its voice.
And
that takes practice.
That's right. And not only, and the practice is actually fun. The practice part is you enjoy it if your goal is to achieve bliss and you're working for, you're working in a direction. All of that is fun and easy. It's really true.
I actually call it, I have a special word for it. I call it blissipline.
Blissipline. I just stole that. That's mine. That's mine.
I call it designing a blissipline practice because, and I have exercises in the book to help you design your own blissipline practice, because it's easy to do once you ask yourself, all the things that give you energy, all the things that take away your energy, and then you can start to make different choices about what you do during the day.
Now, we're gonna take a break right here, but before we do, because we're going to come back and talk about the mystery schools, yay! But Synchronicity, Unlock Your Divine Destiny, where can everybody get the book right now?
So right now, I'm offering pre-orders, signed copies on my website, so go to knowtheself.com.
Okay, the links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. The book is wonderful, I have it, but we just took you through... we didn't go to the seventh key. We're going to leave that for you to go and figure out. But if you get to the seventh key, life is going to be really good for you. But so we took you basically through everything. The book goes way, way, way in depth and takes you through what you need to do to unlock your own divine destiny. Change your reality. Do it now. And thank you for that. Now, when we come back, my subject, the mystery schools. We're going to do that next. Our guest tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter. Amelia, what's your Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter, Jimmy.
There you go. I needed you to say that. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts.
This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris. Now, I was just looking over in Twitter, and I've got a comment on this because Jason Brock just tweeted out, Amelia, check this out. He said, "This is all great, truly great, but just about impossible in real life. How does one do this with the daily grind?" And let me tell you something. My response was, that's the best part. You can. You really can. I'm going to be straight with you guys. For all through the 90s, through 2003, I worked 15, 16 hours a day. I was on a plane on Monday, flying, working from dusk until midnight every single day, 7 days a week, no days off. Fly back to L.A., not change, my luggage, clothes out, clean clothes in, back to the grind. And I did that day in and day out while I was working on myself. I absolutely, I was, not hating life. I was, trying to enjoy what I was doing and stuff. But the thing is, I hadn't found my bliss. I hadn't found it, and I knew, and I was reading the books, and I was, listening to people, but you know what? It takes work. That's nobody's going to do it for you. And if Jason, listen to me, my friend, if you think that you are in the daily grind, and this is what you want to do, then just go and do it, brother. That's it. I swear, in a year from now, you'll be tweeting a whole different set of tweets, man. You'll be like, dude was right. Man, I feel great. And it's really true. It's totally up to you. Now let's get to the mystery schools. I had said... Well,
wait 1 second before the mystery schools. Just let me comment on that because I think that's a perfect point. You need to start where you're at. So if you can start to love your job, he calls it the daily grind. So if he can find it call it the daily challenge. Those are the exact thoughts that create the negative feelings. So if you look at your situation differently and get some perspective and create a blissipline practice for your daily challenge, and start enjoying it, it's going to change your choices that you're making.
That's right. And knowing, and that's exactly what I did. So Jason, listen to me right now. I'm specifically talking to Jason. Is this my that daily challenge? That daily challenge for me was providing for my family, my daughter. Mm-hmm. I was able to going through that, allow myself to have the opportunity to also work on myself. You know, that's what that daily challenge did for me. I knew that everything else in life was taken care of. The lights were going to stay on, right? That part was taken care of. But it allowed me to put myself in this position to work on myself. You know, they go with each other. And it's really true. You're absolutely right.
The desire has to be strong enough.
Yeah, it does.
If your desire is not strong enough, it won't work.
Well, and he says it really well right here. He says, this is all great, truly great. That's the first step right there, man. Mm-hmm. Recognizing, you know, and changing your own reality. Like I said, when you get to through a couple of stages, you are at one point, and it you know, because, you know, day to day is different. But when you look at it over like a 6-month period, at one point, you're going to step back, you're going to look around, and you're going to go, my life is truly different. It really is. Okay. All right. And that's what I did, you know, and it's not easy. It's not, but it is, it's not easy, but it is fun. And I really mean that. It's
learn to enjoy it.
Learn to enjoy it. Now, I do want to get to the mystery schools, and the reason why is I talk about it all the time on this show. And my journey and trying to, you know, acquire knowledge and research, because I'm fascinated with all of this. But when you hear time after time after time after time, reading in a book or documentaries or, you know, different speakers and so forth, talk about the mystery schools, and it sounds so cool. Just the name, right? I want some of that, right? I want what they got. But you go out there and you try to research it. You know, there's no mystery schools on Wikipedia. You know, you're not going to be able to do that. So I want your definition. What is a mystery school?
Well, a mystery school is a place where young initiates were brought to develop their innate abilities. So an initiate is called to go into a mystery school by a particular event in their life, be it some sort of a spiritual awakening, some sort of a calling. And in the old days, you know, it was like a Kundalini awakening or a prophetic dream or some sort of sign that marked the person as a seer or someone who had a specific gift that needed to be developed. And they were brought to the mystery school, which, you know, in ancient days were in the temples. And, you know, every ancient culture has some sort of a mystery school, whether it was apprenticing with a shaman or, you know, in Greece, it was, sorry, I don't know what just happened. I feel like I'm not supposed to talk about it.
That was pretty cool. I mean, I heard
really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if the audience heard that, but I did. That was
yeah. Well, I just feel that you know, you can read about ancient mystery schools, but my definition and the reason I'll talk about why I created one, because that's more appropriate, and I don't feel like I should be going into historical facts right now, but I was remembering different gifts, like my gifts awoke in me through a series of initiations, through a series of awakening experiences. And I went from mystery school to mystery school, mystic to shaman to healer in various places around the world, trying to find answers to my other worldly abilities. and trying to make sense of it and trying to find a way to fine tune them so that they weren't just consuming me and running through my life haphazardly. And I couldn't find, I found a lot of tools. I found a lot of guidance here and there, but there was one piece that I couldn't find, and that's the piece that I'm bringing forward now. So I feel that, there's a lot of power trips in mystery schools, just like there is in every kind of hierarchical system. And I'm here to restore power to the self so that people learn how to become a sovereign being and really stand in their own energy field and stop all manipulation. And there's a lot of, people go to mystery schools because they want to gain power or
secrets.
Yes, and have power over and have special gifts and be, these sort of superhero people. And we have all that and we can be that. But for me, it's important that we learn how to use them in alignment with a higher level of ethics and morals and values. And in my school, I teach it in a council way. So there is a non-hierarchical system. We sit in circle, and I'm just there to mentor the student to remember their own gifts. So I'm there to help wake it up. I have an ability to help awaken the starseed so the soul itself takes root and begins to flower. And because I'm a seer, I can confirm what's happening. So, for example, somebody's in a meditation and they say, wow, I'm seeing this, that, and the other, or, oh, I feel that my field is like this. Most of the time I can confirm because it's a very direct vision for me. It's not a vague apparition. It's a clear vision, like, yes, that is what's happening right now. And let me help you over here, or let me show you this. And so that kind of direct co-visioning and seeing is very rare to find in schools. And that's what I specialize in and why I'm doing this work. I didn't want to be a teacher. I'm not professing to have some sort of power over others or anything like that. And it's not about acquiring power. It's about restoring your own innate abilities, restoring your field, healing yourself, and becoming an ambassador of light on the planet. I think that our leadership is lacking in ethics. And I want to see this new earth that's springing up, these new earth architects. They're in all shapes and guises. They're coming into the political scene, into the business arena. They're the hairdresser and the dog groomer. I mean, every walk of life has a new earth architect there who is awake and grounding. And I want to see that flourish because it's from there that we can create a community that is void of hierarchical models and the patriarchy, and we can awaken the self-governing model.
Well, how do you do that for somebody that may be feeling like they've lost control or they've lost that power and they are feeling, maybe not defeated is the right word, but feeling powerless? How do you do that? How do you help them get that back?
Well, we have to restore the field first. The spiritual bodies have been infiltrated or ripped apart, and so through practice and doing it, it's like a muscle. So even if your field has been distorted and torn up and shredded to pieces, which a lot of society is. You can work that muscle once you understand the proper commands of taking back dominion of your space.
And that is something that can only be achieved through a mystery school because it would have to, you need guidance. I don't want to say hand-holding, but yeah, I guess I am.
It doesn't have to happen through a mystery school. I offer all that information in my book. I call it more like it's like a spiritual dojo. So we're working out the kinks in the system, in the school. So it's a place where you can practice your gifts in a safe place where you're not going to hurt someone else, because we have a safe container. We have a certain code of conduct that we work by. We're not out there, with our magical abilities, just testing them out on people and misusing our energy, which is what some mystery schools do. They don't all have the same ethics and values.
Well, and this is the thing. When it comes to mystery schools, and you're right about, each culture, each society, civilization had their own iteration of it, and it goes back millennia for sure.
Yes.
But this, a lot of this information wasn't written down. You had to be invited. And it was an oral tradition, and therefore very hard to go and get that information unless you are an initiate, you are invited, and you are there. Hence, the mystery behind it, because nobody else can go and get it. You have to be part of the circle.
Yes, and you have to be awakened to a certain degree, and your soul has to be aligned to that information. Not all souls are ready for that. When we start to dissolve the veils, and I think a lot of your listeners will understand this if you've had like an encounter of another dimensional being, it changes your entire physical disposition, emotional disposition, psychological disposition. Like it changes you on levels that you weren't prepared for, and then you have to cope. So whenever you've had these realizations that the world is not as you thought it was, you have to restructure your reality. And that's often when specific initiates with certain types of abilities are brought in so that they can then be leaders and guides and help humanity in some way. Unfortunately, our country's also designed by mystery schools that were dark.
That's exactly yes. But that's exactly it, isn't it? It's really funny when you start to realize that is exactly the game that is being played. There is a reason why you are a slave, man. There is a reason why there are certain people in power, because there's another set of rules that they have been running by, and now you need to figure that out and work against that grain for your own success.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I think that you're brought into a mystery school when it's your turn to play. Like you're being trained to become a player in the field, like on the main stage. So some of the main stage players are, as you all know, backstage hiding.
But that's exactly it. And let me that's exactly it. Let me ask you this, though. When somebody inquires, I mean, certainly right there on your website, it says mystery schools. Do you screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me what I want the mystery of the mystery school. I mean, what are you looking for? Because somebody's trying to cheat the system, right? You said it yourself. They're looking for an advantage. They want a secret. They want to use this for power above others. So how do you screen somebody? Maybe you shouldn't say it because somebody would cheat that system. But what do you look for?
Oh, it's a soul knowing. I mean, I'm not going to go into all my protocols, but if you've gotten that far and you want to have a conversation and you're interested, like I'm having conversations with people this week. So, anyone who's listening who thinks you might be the next initiate, I would love to talk to you. I only take a small group. So if it's the wrong fit, they're just not going to be invited to join.
And how do you let somebody down? You don't say, you know what? No. What do you say? The class is full.
No.
So you don't have to reject somebody.
Sometimes it's not in alignment. Like our souls are not in alignment at this time. The work isn't in it. I'm here to work with specific people who are here as planetary healers. I'm not here for power dynamic people who are wanting to have power over others.
So you would turn me down. I would get the rejection letter.
Maybe, yeah. But you already knew that.
Yes,
See? And that's what happens on the calls.
Yeah, right.
People self-select pretty quickly.
And I wanted to, I'm going to ask you now, do you want to hang out for a little overtime and maybe we'll take some phone calls?
Sure.
I'll open up the phone lines now. I'll open up 1-323-825-5045, 323-825-5045, and we'll take calls through the break too as well. But the point that you're making about the mystery schools and some of this methodology has been in place and perfected forever, right? Absolutely to control society, to the benefit of few and to take advantage of everybody else. That's just and I didn't design that grand plan, but we certainly recognize it today. It is in play. Who do you think is causing this influence now? Is it external? Is it off planet, maybe? Is it archons that have been here forever? What do you think is driving the darkness?
Yes, to all of that. There's a lot of layers to it, and it depends on which specific darkness we're talking about. We all have shadow inside of us that plays out, and we all have alliances and soul groups that we belong to that came here with different agendas.
The phones are starting. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's see. Let me look at the clock. Yeah, okay, we'll do this right now. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Amelia. Who's calling?
Hi, this is Bruce in Austin, Texas.
Hey, Bruce in Austin, Texas. Say hi to Amelia. What's your question?
Hi, Amelia.
Hey, Bruce.
How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Good. Hey, listen. How do you know, is there any way to know ahead of time if you got the calling? Or if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you definitely feel it. It's like a nudge. And some people's calling is like small nudges that happen over and over and over again throughout their life. And some people get, big kapow nudges where it's like a course corrective nudge, and you realize that you need to pay attention and that your life is here to do something much more than your 9-to-5 job.
And Bruce, Bruce, listen really quick because we're going to head towards a break, but the fact that you made this call means that you are on that path, and you really should go get the book. The book is absolutely fantastic.
No problem. I will definitely do that.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Go ahead.
How do you get a hold of you you said you got some...
Yeah, please go to my website and knowtheself.com and click the link to the Mystery School, and you'll learn more about the whole 6-month program, and there's a link there to book a call with me. And anyone who's interested, book a call with me. Book it in the next few days. You've got, what's today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to book a call with me, even Monday, because by Monday midnight, we close the doors. So if you're interested, get on my calendar, and let's have a chat.
There you go, Bruce. And the links, just go to jimmychurchradio.com and you can click on her link right there. It's very easy. All right?
You read my mind, buddy.
Right.
If it was a match.
It's always there. Thank you, Bruce. Have a great night.
Thank you, Bruce.
And that's what's really cool is, getting a call like that because people are listening, and that's what's the most important thing here. And I'll get back to calls in just a second, but I want to finish our thoughts that we were having right there about, who is running the world right now. And if you were going to say to somebody that hears a statement like that and they, oh, come on, man, it ain't like that. What would you? What's your response?
I love to help people discover the truth for themselves and then hold them while they realize how ugly it is.
Bingo. Let's go back to the phones.
I don't want to convince anybody.
Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Yeah, exactly. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Amelia. Who's calling?
Hello, this is Kendra in Ventura. Hello, Amelie.
Hi, Kendra.
I don't have a specific question. I just wanted to share that every single thing that you have said has resonated with me very intensely. I'm, also a fellow wounded healer, light worker person, and I just love what you have to say and the simple steps. And as soon as I can afford it, I'm going to get your book. And I'm interested in being an initiate down the road once I get my finances in order, which is one of the things I'm stuck in. But talking about synchronicity, I don't know how much you follow numbers, numerology. It's just one of the things kind of in my toolbox. But something astounding happened to me before I was diagnosed with terminal stage 4 cancer, which I'm beating, by the way. I'm a walking miracle. Should have been dead by rights about 2.5 years ago. But before they found the giant brain tumor, for about 2 or 3 months, and it kept escalating, the number 11, which has always been a favorite number, and I never knew why, and then found out recently it's a master number, and it seems to be a portal number, if you get my drift there. Yeah. But I was seeing the number 11 everywhere, like, turn to the page in the book, it's page 11, pause the video, it's paused at 11 seconds. I mean, digitally and everywhere I was turning, and it kept escalating to the point where right before they found the tumor, and I was probably days away from death, not realizing it, I was seeing it like 30, 40, 50, 100 times a day. And it was just really amazing and astounding. And so when I see the number 11, it's kind of a love-hate thing. It's like, I'm getting a message about something. Does it have to do with the cancer, or is it just, basically other beings from the other side, giving me warning or telling me, hey, pay attention to X, Y, or Z. So I just wanted to ask if numerology has played, actually I do have a question, if numerology has played a role in your work.
Thank you for that, and I'll let her answer really quick, but we've got to get to a break, so I'm going to hand it over to you, Amelia, really quick. Does numerology play into anything? We've got about 60 seconds.
Numbers are a great messenger, and I think it's your oversoul that's communicating with you, and that 11 is a gateway number, and I would say pay attention and keep your eyes open for where it's directing you. And Kendra, I'd love to gift you a copy of my book. So if there's a way you can find me on Facebook and send me your address to my messenger, I would love to just send it to you. I think you need the tools right now, so I don't want you to wait until you get the money.
There you go, Kendra. Just go to the links right there at jimmychurchradio.com. And what I wanted to say really quick before we head to the break, and everybody on hold, just stay right there. We'll get to you after the break. But you probably get that a lot, don't you? You can give it to me in a yes or no answer. But you know what? You're really resonating with me, and thank you. You must get that just like every day.
Mm-hmm. Often, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Let's take a break right here. We're going to do a little overtime with Amelia. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. If you're on hold, stay right there. All of your phone calls are next. Stay with us. Callers, stay right there. We'll get to your calls after the break.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal God on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com. Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Do a little open lines right now to close out the show. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. Our guest tonight, Amelia Aeon Karris. Now, Amelia, there was a question that popped up here on Twitter, and I found it fascinating. And this question is thought about a lot. When we are talking about the mystery schools, a lot of people immediately go to Crowley and those dark groups that were out there. And are the two synonymous, or should we keep that kind of thought separated?
No, it makes sense that you're going there because, most mystery schools, I wouldn't say most. There's light and dark mystery schools. And it just depends, there's the dark arts and there's the light arts. My school is here for planetary healing, and I'm here to help people come into right relation and right use of will. So I'm not interested. I've expelled students who have tried to misuse their power. It's a very strict code of conduct. So that kind of manipulation or trying to get power over people or do things without explicit permission. We have way too much of that on the planet. And I'm here to work with people who are in leadership roles or who are working as healers or just wanting to aid in the overall lifting up of the light, and to do that in a way that there's checks and balances and that you're aligned to truth at all times.
I hope you're not going to break some hearts here. I just got an email, so I'm just going to read this. Are you married?
I am not.
Ah, okay. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the phone. Somebody takes the time to send that email, and then to it was kind of fun. It happened last night too with Josh Gates, right?
Well, I don't think you have many females here, right? It's kind of like the boys' club on Jimmy's network. So.
I don't think so. No. I think
it's just the ones I listen to.
I'm gonna go 50-50. I'm gonna go 50-50 with the fate or not.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 50-50.
I would have thought it was.
Yeah. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Marie from San Jose.
Hi, Marie from San Jose. Say hi to Amelia.
Hi, sweetie. I had a question or maybe an observation that you can maybe clarify for me. I have been on a spiritual path for quite some time, and I really started when I got divorced about 10 years ago. And it started with joining groups with astrology, numerology, and then it turned into kind of a spiritual like cleansing and the yoga. I just started going through all of this process and healing and different modalities. As I progressed, I made a lot of friends, but as I continued, I found myself distancing myself from a lot of people as I really got to know myself. I realized that I really didn't need this outside world to heal the inside of me. Mm-hmm. And the more I go on that journey, the more I just want to I just want to be silent within, mm-hmm. because I'm so happy. And mm-hmm. I have a lot of people who are in the healing world that do a lot of the healing, a lot of what you just described. It turns me off because it's about it's not really about the healing. It's really about the notoriety that they're going to receive because of they're using that particular modality, and I get criticized for it. But I choose not to take that path because I'm happy. I'm happy. I've never been so happy in my life. But the happier I get, the quieter I feel like I need to become. And mm-hmm. I found this observation in myself, and a lot of people are thinking that I've like fallen off the face of the earth, but I've found that I do things. I participate in my community. I'm doing a lot more things artistically, and I find that it's flowing so smoothly. My life is turned so blissful. And yet, I just feel like I'm not following the astrology like I used to. I'm not following all of that outside stuff. Am I missing something?
No, you're right on the path. That's beautiful. That's exactly how it.
I was going to say. I almost said, Maria. Thank you for the call, by the way. And what I was going to say to Maria was, I don't even know why you called in, Maria.
Well, I have a question for you, Maria. I mean. Because that you're right on track. And I think that's a lot of people's path into the inner bliss, to the inner knowing, to the authentic self. And a lot of the people that come to the school, it's either right before that stage or getting to that stage. And then we go, I talk about the 4 levels of self-mastery, and I would say that you're going from apprentice to adept. And so adept phase is when you master your gifts and you master your presence, and you're able to deliver it time and time again. And your vibration and your presence becomes a gift.
There you go, Maria. Be safe and be well.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great phone call. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's keep them going. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, Mr. Church, it's Jason. How's it going?
Oh, hey, Jason. Are you the... No. Okay, which Jason?
No,
Jason?
No, Jason Preston from Twitter, not the one you were speaking about earlier.
Okay, all right.
No.
Hi, Jason.
No. Man, this is fantastic this evening. I wanted to say thank you. This is the first time I've heard you guest, and thank you for all of this, for everything you brought tonight. Just first and foremost, and just a little personal tale. After listening to you, I thought for a while I was becoming a nihilist, where I didn't really care about other people's opinions. I thought that there was something wrong with me, but then I realized that the more and more I got into this journey, the spiritual journey, and I let go of negativity, and I could see people around me, how they were very negative, and how it festered in people's lives, and I sort of looked at them like they had 2 heads, and I thought there was something wrong with me. When I'd look at them, like I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I really, for a while, felt like I lost my mooring, like, to reality, where I thought I had the problem. I thought I was the one that was wrong, that I didn't care about some of the things that drove people crazy. And just after hearing some of the stuff that you talk about, I realized maybe I'm not the crazy one. Maybe that there's people who hold on to a lot of things that they shouldn't, and there's people that sort of place their negativity, or place their, I don't know, I may not be saying this right, but they sort of glom onto things that don't really matter and don't take care of their spiritual self as much as they should. And, yes. It's really refreshing to hear you speak about these things. So
it's refreshing to hear your perspective. And what makes me sad is that you've somehow bought into the program that something's wrong with you because you're not the same as them.
Yes.
Yeah, that part, like, I feel pain in my heart because your perspective is really needed right now. I'd love for you to book a call with me if you want to talk further, because there's a lot I could say about it, and I know this isn't really the place or the time for it. But
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, no, I would actually enjoy that, because there's so few people left around me to talk to about, because I don't really have a whole lot of people left in my life that sort of think the same way that I do, and I guess that's by design. I'm okay with that.
We're not placed in the same location on purpose, because as hubs of light, we need to be placed in a certain distance away from each other. So a lot of the wounded healers feel alone. They go through a lot of period of isolation. But then there's a golden network that's being stitched, and I talk about it a lot in the book, and that's what we're doing in the school, is restitching that network, so you don't feel like a weirdo, you feel at home.
There you go, Jason. See, you're not a weirdo, so go and do your thing, man. All right, let us know how that phone call goes. Okay, man.
I'll definitely be doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. And let's try to squeeze one more in here before we have to say goodnight. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Amelia. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Sabrina from Pittsburgh. And hello, Amelia.
Hey, Sabrina.
Hi, guys. I wanted to touch on these things that you've been sharing, in that there is a way to clear out all of the things you went through as a child. How to heal all of those completely, and how all of those things are interconnected. I went through many things, rapes, molestations, beatings growing up, and back in 2004, I found myself essentially laying in a bed, unable to move, recognizing my body was dying from cancers and screaming, "I'm still alive," in my head. And let me tell you, I went on a journey of looking at every experience I had from birth forward to see where I judged. Where in each one I made a judgment or accepted a judgment. And my first judgment was at 9 months old. And I healed my cancers with no medications or surgeries when I let go those judgments.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's huge. It's a big deal. Yeah, thank you for bringing all that up.
Did you have a question, Sabrina?
Not necessarily. I just wanted to share that it is possible to heal them and to understand that everything that we think we know and believe to be true was taught to us, and
Absolutely.
we can unlearn it.
Yeah. Truer words have never been spoken, Sabrina. And thank you for the phone call, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Blessings to you both. Hugs and love on your journey.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sabrina. Absolutely. The power of the mind, right? The power of the mind. It is ridiculous.
Well, and it's nothing compared to the power of your heart.
Aren't they, well, they're connected, but can't they be one and the same?
No, they're very different. I mean, the mind is a processing unit. It's like the software for the hardware. You know, your heart is the intelligence. And the mind just processes the intelligence. And if we have a disconnect, which most people are very disconnected between their heart and their mind, because we have a very mental reality, and we're kind of living from the head up, and we have to reactivate the heart. And that's what you'll learn to do in the book if you practice the tools I offer there, or want to join the mystery school. We anchor the heart as your true intelligence.
Why do you think it is that, Jason brought this up, I want to go back to address, which I think is a very important point, that we are absolutely, without a doubt, with TV commercials, geared at 2-year-olds, all the way through adulthood, that you need to, worship these false idols, the car, right? The face, the house, the job, these things that are supposed to give you the happiness that you are searching for. And inevitably, 100% of the time, you slave for 50 years, right? 40 years. You start to get to the end of the line. You look around and you've got the 4-car garage, right? You've got the 4 cars. You've got the pool. You've got the job, you've got everything, and you're just like, man, I just wasted my life. I'm miserable. I was supposed to be the happy person now, and it is, this is what we are taught. How do you, and if you try to discuss this with somebody that is in that status quo, right, that is in the machine, that is that is a cog in the machine. They don't want to listen, do they? They don't want to even recognize, because they are so caught up, because the system works, right? The commercials work. What you are taught, it is very successful. It is the machine that everything is run on, and they are back to that word denial. How do you convince them that there is another path to happiness? You can have all of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you can convince them. I think you have to show them. I've worked with a lot of very powerful men and some of the richest men in the world. I've sat with them. They've been my clients. I've gotten to speak with them. And money doesn't buy happiness at all. Like, that is so clear. Some of the wealthiest people are some of the most miserable people I've met. So some of the most disconnected from their heart, because they don't know who to trust. They don't even trust their spouses sometimes, because they think they were married for money, or they've become completely void in the heart. And it's just so important. Everyone listening, please, connect to your heart. Connect to the longing in your heart. not the desires of your mind that they've entrained you to have, like these false desires, like of greed, lust, but the deeper longing of joy, of unconditional love, of peace. Those longings will guide you back to your heart.
Yeah. Some of the most, I've been around some really rich people. Couldn't stand them. They couldn't stand themselves.
No.
And it's just like, man, I would, you know what? I don't even want to be around you. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
It's just so funny. But I've been around some successful people where I think the success was part accidental, right? You know what I mean? It wasn't part of the pursuit. That were totally happy, totally blissfully rocking happy, and laughed about the money, right? And
because they didn't attach to it.
Oh man, not at all. And so, yeah, I totally hear it. It just bums me out that David Icke really does a really good presentation on this. And it's really long, but when you go through the presentation, you step back and you realize he is spot on the money. You just walk to the end of life where you're supposed to have found what's the key to happiness. I asked, I've said this before on the show, but it's really true. I asked Deepak Chopra one time. I'm alone with the guy. And I have a crack at a question, right? So what do? I asked, so dude, what's the key to life, right? And he sits back. You ready for this? Hey, everybody on the show has heard this before, but he sits back and he looks at me and he goes, laughter, right? And he laughs and he's laughing, And it's like, that's what you're going to give me right now? Now think about the heaviness of that statement. Think about, your key number 6, right? Right? Be happy, at anything for any reason. And really that's it. That's true. I can't agree with that more. And I try to, when I say on this show, Amelia, and I say it so much that it's almost gotten to the point where it's comedy, the statement. But I walk around with flowers hanging out of my pockets. That's what I do. That's it. If you can put that mental picture in your head, that's what I do. I don't try to do it. I just do it. And I said it to a friend of mine today that sometimes he's swallowing that bitter pill a little bit too much. He's a little bit angry. He's a lot angry, and he shouldn't be. And I literally said, dude, man, right now there are rainbows and unicorns running around me right now.
Yeah.
And sure, I'm supposed to be the big tough guy, and I am. I'm not ashamed to say that, but the point is, that's not how I live my life. That's not. And the more that people can understand that, anybody that's been around me, and I'm sure that anybody that's been around you, the one thing that they can say is they live by these principles. They are who they say they are. And for those out there that are trying to struggle to understand what we're saying, you've got to live it, man. You got to roll up the sleeves and go and do the work. And at one point, you'll look around and say, man, I made those changes.
Yeah, and I think anger is a big catalyst. So anyone who's feeling really angry and frustrated, use that anger in action to change, to do something about it. Because you're angry because you have a solution to that problem. So if you're angry and just sitting back, bitching about it, it's your responsibility to be the solution to that problem. So if you're angry about the fires that are happening, which so many people are, it doesn't mean go out and stop the fire, but find the source, find the cause, like go into the anger, go be on the front lines and help, do whatever you can to be the change that you're judging so much that it's not there. Because we're putting the responsibility on someone else when we're doing that. And anger is an illuminating, positive action if we can use it as such. So instead of like cursing at things, use it to put you in the right direction towards a positive change.
That's it. If you're going to be angry that other people are angry. That's what right? And make
right,
that
and
change.
so be happy and spread love.
That's it. What do they say? 2 negatives make a positive, right? That's exactly it. Amelia, thank you for the conversation tonight. It was absolutely wonderful. And again, let's are you speaking? What are you doing right now?
You mean next?
Yeah, are you doing any conferences? Or are you out there?
I'm not yet. But my book's there, and the mystery school is my main thing right now, and there'll be retreats coming up. So just whoever's interested, go to my website, sign up for my inner circle, and you'll be notified of all of that.
Oh, thank you so much, and I really look forward to the next time that you're on the show. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Absolutely. Amelia Aeon Karris. Now, her website is knowtheself.com. The links are over, not know thy, right? Knowtheself.com. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. The book is amazing. And again, I wanted everybody to get a taste of each step and each key tonight. It is absolutely wonderful to go through. And the only advice that I can give to anybody, when I talk about changing your own reality and what I did to go through things in life, there are people out there that have known me for 30, 40 years, and they know where I am at now, and they know the changes that I've made in my life to get here. Nobody, and I mean nobody, did it for me. Nobody did it for Rita. You know, we sat back, figured out what changes needed to be made, and changed our own reality. And every time I mention it, I never get more email than when I talk about that subject. We're all interested in it, and it is totally possible. You know, there is no magic wand with any of this. It does take work, but you just need to recognize what's going on in the world around you, what's going on with yourself, what's going on with your family, what you went through in the past, and where you want to be moving forward. And once you achieve all of those things, I'm telling you, you go through those first couple of baby steps and work through that, you'll see. You will look around and go, man, my world is different. So think about that. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you, Amelia Aeon Karris. What a great name, by the way. Rolls off the tongue as it should. Thank you so much. Again, the website is knowtheself.com. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show's produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar, Fady by Dale, Webmaster Drew, The Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I want to remind you, tomorrow night, Fader Night, open lines all night long, and of course, John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom live. Until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.